Okay. Today I'm going to be redoing a couple of the spots on the solder just to touch them up because, well, I can't find anything obvious as far as anything being burned. I tested the resistors. They seem okay. There's no obvious component burning or burnt components. So right now I'm just gonna touch like the big spots, I guess you can say, for the solder, just to see if that even does anything. I'm not even gonna touch the small ones because everything, actually the components are pretty well soldered on here, but maybe there is one or two that it's a little bit of a cold solder, which is honestly on a 20-30 year car I would expect that, but on an 11-year-old car you really can't expect something like that other than maybe a bad component. But again, I'm not an expert on the electronic PC components myself. I just know the basics electronics, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna try to do that under the microscope right here. So all I'm doing is just kind of retouching a couple of the larger solder joints, I guess you can say, and see what happens after that. So for some reason I put a little bit of what do you call it, flux in here, and that's turned white. So let me go ahead and start the camera on here. Yeah, it was already there actually. So let me start the recording there because the camera doesn't have sound, so that's why I'm using the other camera on the side here just to try and show you what's going on here and just sort of kind of go through the motions. Right now I'm just touching these old bigger, what do you call it, a solder joint here. I'm not doing a component, I'm just doing a regular board solder joint, solder joint. Just kind of see what's going on here. Okay, that looks good. And again, you got to remember that because what do you call it? That looks good. Because this board still has a little bit of the rubber covering on them next to some of the components. It still makes it a little bit of a pain trying to remove that, because you gotta remove that first before you can what do you call it, are able to either measure it or do the solder here. Okay, that looks like it's working. It's melting. So I'm just using this to add the flux here because can't really do it any other way, since the flux gets pretty hard because it's not the other type. Okay, that actually moves, so it's on there though. But I think I'm gonna need a couple of Q-tips. So I guess you can say I'm just practicing on the larger pads here just to kind of get an idea. And this is looking pretty bad. I mean, in terms of the flux, just making it a mess, but right now I'm just touching. My Hakko is actually working. It melts the points really well, but the bad part is that the flux just makes it all dirty, so it makes it hard to see, but that's okay. So far it's so good. I'm just making the solder joints good again, not taking any components out or anything. I'm just going through the some of those joints just to kind of reflow them basically. And I'll definitely have the other video on later on. They get pretty what do you call it? They get pretty long, so that's why I haven't been posting any of those. I do have quite a bit of them. So this is going to be a very tedious task, but that's okay. I just want to make sure the those cold solders are gone if there are any. So I'm not touching the components again. I'm just doing the large spots or large parts of the solder joints here, just to kind of reflow everything. Just to make sure there's a good contact in here. There we go. Yeah, this is not going to be easy, but I'm just going to stick with the larger solder joints just to see if that helps. See, this thing is it's so cold in here. It's just definitely, this is the only way I can get it on here. I don't have the other type of flux, so that's unfortunate, but well, right now that's all we can do, just work with what we got. And this Hakko seems to be working pretty good here. Let me see. It does melt the joints pretty well. So right now I'm not looking for any small components, joints. Right now I'm just looking at the board, larger joints, just to make sure that those are refilled again, just to make sure we get good contact on them. There we go. Also, don't forget that you can actually make things worse. Take one of the joints. So we want to make sure we don't do that, or I don't do that. Alright, I'm just going to do this side because I don't need solder, I just need to melt it and redo it. I was looking at the new soldering iron from, what do you call it? from Ryobi. It looks pretty nifty because it looks small and I like it. However, it's like $60 or $70 or something like that. At that point, it's not a good value because the Milwaukee, it's like 99, I think. And I already have all the batteries and stuff. It is bigger, however. So when that price goes down on it, maybe I'll take a look at it. But it needs to go down to like 30 or 40 bucks. That's just too much for something I already have here, even though this one's a little larger than that one. That's the only reason I was looking at it, but oh shit, what is this? Did I touch something? Please don't tell me. Okay, kind of touched on another diode here, but so I gotta keep this upright more just to make sure I don't mess anything up here. So that's what I was talking about. If you don't want to cause a problem, that's something that there is, and you definitely want to be careful. This one's small enough, but it's not long enough to get into the tight spot. That's why I'm not going into components. I'm just going into the larger. I'll have to come back and double check that resistor just to make sure I didn't mess it up. I think it's just the what do you call it? The flux that's on there, so that's good. But I need to be extra careful now because I don't want to touch the wrong component. Alright, let's keep going here. Just the big spots. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to touch these up. Okay. So we got a couple of spots here. So I can turn it around. I don't want to touch the chip. There we go. So you definitely need a very fine, oops, just turn it off, a very fine tip. This is a fine tip, but unfortunately it's too thick from here, so you need a long one in order to get into the smaller components. So I gotta keep it upright so that I am right where I need to be and not near anything else, or as best as I can with the microscope, because it is pretty hard to do that. It's a little top heavy because of the batteries, but I'm able to get in there, so that's good. And I'm trying to do it without touching anything other than the tip there. So we'll try that. For now. since I didn't find anything obvious, like I said, nothing burned. And I definitely don't want to create anything right now. Yeah, where am I here? And you see, it looks like I'm touching it, but I'm actually on the side here, so I'm not even going deep enough to touch it. So I gotta turn the board around because this is not long enough for me to use it that way. But at least you can see that it does work. Let me put a little more flux on it just to make sure that it's gonna stay where it needs to be. Alright, so let's keep going. So I'm down at the board on the other side. Let's see what else we got. Anything in the middle here? Definitely the space is pretty limited on how I can move here, so I definitely need something bigger with more space that I can move around. However, for this project or this part, I'm able to get to it, so that's good. Again, I'm just looking for the large spots right now. Like this one's here. There we go, that's a good shot. So let me, of course my hand already hurts, it's kind of numb. So in order to do this type of detail work, obviously this works, but it's too heavy. You need something a lot smaller, slimmer. The reason I'm telling you that is because this is the first time I'm actually working this close on a board like this. Alright, that's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Alright, I know those are pretty good as far as the connection, because I did a continuity test on that, but I was just trying to see if I could melt this here, but as you can see I'm just making it all dirty, so I'm going to leave those alone. Keep going with the pads. What else I can find here? Okay, let's try this one. Okay, this solder is pretty strong on this component, so as you can see, those don't melt quite easily with this iron. So I'm just going to keep on moving. I did those, I can't. Alright, let's try one of this large legs on the chip. I know there's good continuity there. Solder definitely needs okay. I'm definitely not going to touch the rest of them because I'm just not having any luck with this melting that as easy, and I don't want to make it worse. They seem fine. Let's see. I think I got most of those other random pads. Yeah, I got those. Man, I definitely don't seem to be able to get this hot enough to reflow these, so I don't want to screw them up either. Let's see. Okay, that one worked. Let me turn it. Just want to make sure I don't touch anything else. Gotta go with that one. Okay, that's working, I think. Looks like it works. Okay. I think I got the hang of that one. Let's try it on the other chip. Just kind of warm it up, make sure it's... There we go. That's all we want to do. Just want to make sure it sticks. You can see it change a little bit, so that's good. That's what I want. I know they're not lifted or anything. Come on. But we just want to touch them a little bit. That's it. Don't need too much. Oh, come on. I'm stuck there at the end. Alright, let's keep going. There we go. That's good. That's good. Perfect. Got it. Alright. There's the big chip. Okay, well, what else we got? There's another chip right here. Let's go through these legs. Now that I get the hang of it, so as you see that sort of melt, that's where you want to let it go. Perfect. Just want it to reflow itself. Nice. Okay. Swap it to the other side. Alright, that's good. Move it down, there's another one down here. I like to keep turning it so that I'm not touching anything on the other side with the what do you call it? I think I did that one already. Okay, I'm doing the corner one. Okay, that one's done. So this one I'm not gonna do, that's just way too small for this, even though I could, but it's just the tip on this one is not small enough. You need like a needle for that one. Needle tip, this one's, even though small, it's still not long enough to just get the individual pins on here, even though it looks like you can, but you can't. So let me keep going here. is just flux, and that's what I'm talking about. This tip is still too fat on the bottom. I need a super thin, longer one. But that's what you do. You learn as you go, and you don't know until you do it. So I'm learning. Will this fix the board or make it worse? It could go either way. Alright, I'm just going to leave it there. There's one that I needed to check. Which one? Where is it? I don't even know where it is now. I know I got flux on it, but I just wanted to double check and make sure I didn't mess that up right there. Let's see. That looks like flux to me. So that's good. This is a screwdriver, the smallest screwdriver I have actually. Yep, that's just flux. I'm gonna test it anyway. If I can find my multimeter. Right here. Okay, that looks good. See what the resistance on that is. Touch it long enough. Okay, hold on. I gotta clean it because it's got this conformal coating or whatever the silicone is. Come on. Either way, I know it's good because I didn't press it on there for too long. It was just the extra flux that was on the tip. 33.6, so we're good. I haven't damaged anything. So basically I want to put it back, get the code, see what it does, or see what it does now, and kind of go from there. But let me show you something else. Hang on. So I went to Jan's and they have this sort of let me get the camera back north. This sheet of foam. That's what it's called. And you can see, well, maybe how thick it is right there. So this is what I'm going to use right on here. I'm just going to cut a piece and then use the foam instead of having to refill this with silicone. I'm going to do this, put this on there and just silicone the edge. And this should pretty much cover or make sure nothing hits it or shorts it or anything like that. Actually, I should do that now anyway since I'm on the camera. So let me see if I can get this cut to the right size. Right now, actually, let's see if I have a marker here. One that I can see. Yep. This is the Sharpie gray marker that I just got. So let me see here. I'm trying to cut a piece of this. So we want to be right there. And this side. Let me stop the video on here. And close the mic. The battery was almost going down. The battery, unfortunately, doesn't last as long as you would think, but it did last enough for me to make the video, so that's a good thing. And now, let me see if I can show you what I'm doing. Basically, I'm just marking the foam pad where I want to cut it. Right there. So, okay, use a ruler, go this way and this way, and I think I'll have my piece right there, right there. So let me do that. And obviously I'm showing you this on the video because I want everyone to see what I'm doing in case it does work. And hopefully if it does, then you can do that, or you know what needs to be done, or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna go right to there. Okay, so we're coming about here. I'm using the bottom edge of the ruler and the foam because it is actually pretty square from what I can tell. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm trying because we want to make sure it fits nicely on that square. Let me get the scissors. Let's see, am I still recording? Yes. And there we have it. One tiny square piece. So that's what that looks like. And we can go ahead and test it out. Oh, it's actually a little bigger than I thought, which is good, but you can see it'll fit right in. Actually, I can just probably push it right now and it'll fit. Yep. Yeah, even better. It lifts stuff from the bottom there a little bit. So actually, there you go. Now I can just put silicone around it, or right now tape, just to test it out. And I have the back cover again. It is a little tight, but actually that seems to work pretty well. I'm gonna put like maybe a rubber band down here just to hold it. Put some silicone while it's curing, and then see, it's pretty tight in there too. And then once it cures, just take that off. So there you go. I hope that is somewhat helpful if you're looking for a way to cover this back without making a bigger mess. I know it's not gonna be silicone, but remember, we're testing. I'm trying to figure this out. So right now I just did the big spots that you saw, and will that work or fix the problem? I don't know. This is just something I'm testing to see what we got, but that's it for this video.